Hey everybody, it's Ian the Off Kilter Crafter. I hope you're having a great day today. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make your very own keychain using your Cricut Maker or any other Cricut machine. This project does work on all machines, however remember if you're not using the Cricut Maker you do have to use bonded fabric, so make sure to keep that in mind if you're going to put this project together. It is a free project from Simplicity. They're the ones that put together all sorts of sewing patterns, so thanks to them for putting this in Cricut Design Space for free for everyone to use. It's a lot of fun and I've created a lot of these. I'm kind of addicted to these keychains. They are really easy to make. I also made some, whoops, for Halloween as well. I gotta grab them off camera there. I also made them for Halloween as well, if my camera will ever focus. So they're a lot of fun. They can be very addicting and really fun to make, really fun to give as gifts, especially as we enter into the holidays. So let's go ahead and get started and see how I put this project together. To get our project started today, we're going to be using a fat corner of material. It can be any kind. You don't have to have this much material. In fact, you can have much less if you're just making one. But since I'm going to be making 5 today, I wanted to have enough material, and I like this material, so I should be able to use this for other projects as well. You'll also need some webbing. Webbing comes in different colors. I have some purple from some Halloween keychains that I made. For this one, I felt like white would be the best bet to go with. And then I have the key fob hardware set. This comes with 5 pieces to make 5 different keychains. However, if you just want one keychain, you can get one keychain. Now the project recommends using a 1 1/4 inch webbing and hardware. However, I wasn't able to find that. This one is a 1 inch or 2.54 centimeter key fob. For me, it was kind of hard to find a 1 1/4 inch webbing and the hardware, so I just went with the standard 1 inch. It looks like I can find that really easy. I found these at Joann's. And if you're not quite sure what webbing is, it's the stuff that they use on backpacks, the adjustable straps on backpacks. Those are webbing. So if you pick it up and it feels like that strap on a backpack, not the soft squishy part where you put your shoulder on, but the part that adjusts on that strap, that's webbing. The first step for today's project is I'm going to cut my fabric to be a 12 by 12 square, so that way I can lay it down on the fabric mat. If you do not have the Cricut Maker, that is okay. You can still do this project. You would just need to add some sort of interfacing or backing material to make sure that it is nice and sturdy whenever the blade runs over it. You also do not need to have the fabric marker, that washable pen. However, it does help out the project a lot, so that way you don't have to eyeball it. Alright, so let's go ahead and cut our fabric down to the correct size for the fabric mat. Some important tips when working with the fabric grip mat. First of all, you can see I have some leftover material from the first time I did this project at Halloween. I have some leftover strings and stuff on your mat. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about taking those off. It's perfectly fine to leave those on. It won't affect anything. You also don't want to touch the mat with your skin, the sticky part that is, because your skin oils will slowly break down that sticky material on the mat itself. So try very hard not to touch the mat, and also don't use any scraping tools whenever you're trying to take your material off the mat. These are all recommendations that Cricut has, and if you need more information, you can always call Cricut customer service, or you can visit their website. Always keep in mind which direction the cutting is going to be happening in for these keychains. I want the colors to be going perpendicular to my cut lines, so that way I get the full rainbow running all the way down instead of the other way where I would only get 1 or 2 colored stripes. So make sure you pay attention to that as you're laying your material onto your mat. Just lay it out nice onto your material, onto your mat. Try to line it up as best as you can. The really great thing about this project, or pretty much any project that you're cutting out on your Cricut machine, is you don't have to worry about it being cut perfectly for the mat. A lot of times it will get worked out quite nicely just by laying it down. You can even cut it a little bit bigger then the mat area. Just make sure that you don't overlap the edges. You can overlap top and bottom, but you cannot overlap side to side. That will affect it as it goes through the machine. Okay, I've smoothed my material out completely so that way it is nice and flat on my mat. That helps to make sure that as the material is running through, it's not bubbling up and causing problems. I'm going to take this over to my Cricut Maker machine and get started. Remember, whenever you're putting your material on, for this instance, you're going to put it down face down because you want the lines on the inside of the material, not on the outside. Even though it does wash away with water, I still like to have the lines for these keychains on the inside because I don't plan on running my keychains through the washing machine. I'm going to be making this project from my iPad, but this is a very similar process on the computer or any other iOS device or Android device. What you're going to do is in the top box, you're going to type in key and hit search. And that's going to bring up the key ring. That's the project that we want to work on today. And you're going to hit make it. You cannot customize this project because there's really nothing to customize. So we're going to go ahead and hit make it. And today I'm going to make 7 of them because I believe I have enough material on my mat to cut 7. You'll need your fabric pin as well, so make sure you have that ready to go. And we'll hit continue. We'll connect our Cricut device. And here on the settings, we need to make sure that we've set it for cotton fabric because that's what I'm working with today. So make sure to select the item that you're using. If you're using a heavier cotton, make sure to specify that. Or if you're using a lighter material, make sure to specify that in your material settings. And if you need help finding them, you can always hit the all materials button and pull up different materials that are available. So I have my fabric pin ready to go. I've loaded my rotary blade into the machine. So all I need to do is load up my mat and get it ready to go. Alright, now that I have got it all cut out, I'm going to pull away my excess material. Remember, it's okay if some of it stays behind. That's not going to hurt anything. Just make sure not to touch the sticky part of your mat. There we go. And now I'll go ahead and remove my individual keychains from the mat. Now that I have it off the mat, you'll see the blue lines here indicating where you're going to fold on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly using my fingers roll it over on that blue line, and then using a hot iron I will press that line in so it'll be ready to sew. So I'm going to go ahead and take this over to my ironing board, press that seam in, and we'll move on from there. Now that I have my fabric for my keychain all pressed and nice and ready to go, it is time to cut the webbing. You're going to cut the webbing into 12-inch strips, so 12 inches of the material, so that way each keychain is going to be about 12 inches. You'll end up losing a little bit as you add the key fob, but it'll be a little less than 6 inches because remember, we're going to double it over. Right as I say that, I remember that it's actually not 12 inches long. We're actually going to be cutting at just, I would say, at 11 inches. If you want to get closer, like 10 and 3/4 you can, but just to be safe, I'm going to cut it at 11 just to make sure that I have enough material to work with. Alright, now that I have my length of webbing and my pressed material, I'm just going to lay that, I would say leave room on either end for a little bit of wiggle room, and you're just going to attach it down with some pins as close to the center as you can get. May not be perfect, mine never line up perfectly, but I want to try and get as nice of a line as possible. Then I'm going to go down and pin my material to my webbing so that way it doesn't move. Alright, so now I need to get my sewing machine out, and we're just going to do one line as close to the edge as possible where those pins are, making sure to remove the pins as you're going along. Alright, I think I got everything set up and ready to sew. Remember that you're going to be sewing as close to the edge as possible without actually going over the edge. Try to keep it as straight as possible. It's going to be difficult. It does move around, and that's perfectly fine. This is a handmade present or gift or for yourself, so take pride in your little baubles. It's not a big deal. And just make sure that your fabrics line up nicely, and make sure to also take your pins out as you're moving along. I'm going to go ahead and take my first pin out because I don't want to deal with that one as I'm getting started. You don't have to backstitch here because remember, we're going to go across the top whenever we are done doing this, so that way it folds it all together and holds it in nice and neat. So don't have to backstitch this way. We're going to backstitch back and forth across the top once we're done putting it all together. Alright, now that I've gotten it sewn on one side, I just need to sew the other side. So once again, take your pins and pin the material where you want it, and then go over it with a single stitch from top to bottom. Now that I've got it all nice and sewn together, I'm going to fold it over, making sure that my ends are matching up nicely. There are a lot of frayed ends and such, and we'll cut those off in just a minute, but just fold it over like so, and then just take a couple of stitches and go back and forth here at the top, making sure to back stitch a couple of times and make sure it's nice and tight and all put together. Just remember, we're going to end up cutting off the very edge, so you want to go in a little further just to make sure that everything is caught in your bundle. Now you probably noticed there I had my tails. It almost got caught up in it. Just be careful with your tails, making sure you don't get them caught into the sewing that you were just doing. Now I'm going to take my scissors and just finish this off a little bit. And there you go. Might be hard to see there. There you go, nice finished edge, and we'll be ready to put our hardware on. For this next part, you'll need a pair of pliers, your keychain, the fob keychain hardware set, and a paper towel. I'm gonna go ahead and open up my hardware. And on your hardware inside, ooh, if I can get it in the light, inside your hardware there are little spikes, and those spikes will dig into your material to make sure that they stay nice and tight inside of there. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your keychain and you're gonna pick a side that you think looks the best. I think this side probably looks the best. I want the spikes, since there's divots on this side, I want that on the back. So I'm just gonna stick my key fob in there, try to line it up as best as possible, and then with my fingers I'm gonna pinch it closed just enough so that way the material doesn't fall out. Then I'm going to take my paper towel and I'm going to wrap my key fob with my paper towel, and that's to help keep the pliers from making marks inside, or on the outside I should say, of my key fob, and then I'm just going to squeeze it nice and tight and shut. There it is. So now you just need to put your split ring onto this side, and you have a keychain. Very easy to complete, and especially if you're new to sewing, this is a great project because you only have to sew 3 lines, as well as a very practical gift as well. I find that people always need keychains, and they really like it whenever I give them these, because it's personalized for them. I hope you liked today's project. If you did, give it a thumbs up. That lets YouTube know that you liked my video and project, and will hopefully share my video across YouTube land. Also, if you're new here on my channel, make sure to hit that button down below that says subscribe. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and get great updates every time I post a new video or go live. You can also click that bell notification icon, and that'll send you a notification when I do go live or post a new video, so that way you don't ever miss a new video. You can also check out my social media links. Those are listed down in the description below, so make sure to check me out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Periscope, and everywhere else. Make sure to go check out all those below. I hope everybody has a great day. Remember guys, keep it off kilter. Bye!